What's up, friends? Welcome back to KimmyDTV, a place where nurses and aspiring nurses come to achieve academic, career, and life success. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of school nursing and the reason why I decided to leave my position as a school nurse. So if you guys like this video, give it a like, thumbs up, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Alright, I'm going to preface this video by saying that this video is in no way to discourage anybody from becoming a school nurse. I think it's a great position. It just didn't fit me, my lifestyle, and my goals. So take into consideration that this video is just basically information I wish I would have had. There's not a lot of videos on here on YouTube about school nursing, so here you go if you're considering school nursing. So to give you guys a background, once upon a time, I was working as a school nurse in Houston, Texas. I worked in a middle school. One of the pros I would say is that coming from my background, I spent 6 years as an LPN working in a nursing home, and then now going on 2 years working in a psych hospital as a registered nurse. So one good thing about working as a school nurse is that you can be an LPN or an RN and you can work as a school nurse. You don't have to be a registered nurse. Depending on which state you live in, you will find that it's easier to find jobs as a school nurse as an RN versus an LPN. But in Houston, Texas, I see that you could work as a school nurse as an RN or an LPN, and there are some agencies that hire school nurses. So you don't have to work directly from the school. You could work for an agency, and then you could work for the school that way, okay? So one thing I like about it is really laid back, meaning I had my own office going in, and I didn't have to wear scrubs every day. Of course, you have to be appropriate because you are working in the school. You are working with young children. So sometimes sometimes I wore business casual. Sometimes we had, like, for example, Wednesdays, we would wear our college jersey. So I would wear a shirt that represents which college I go to. And on Thursdays, sometimes they had, I don't know, sometimes if there was one day where we had pediatric cancer awareness, so we wore gold. So that's what I mean by laid back. Like, it's really laid back in the sense where you don't have to always wear scrubs, and you come in, you could get your breakfast. Like, this is how my day would go. I would come from the gym, and then I would get my breakfast, and then I would come in and go to my office, sit down. I would have time to eat my breakfast, and it was really nice. And also, I got to leave on time. So you guys know, as nurses, 9 times out of 10, you are not leaving on time. I remember I saw this meme about, like, how when it's like 5 minutes before you're about to leave, that's when patients act out and stuff like that. It's so funny. I saw it on Instagram, but 9 times out of 10, you leave on time. There have been a few times where I couldn't leave on time, which is when a parent couldn't pick their student up on time because they were sick at the last minute, and we can't send kids home with a fever, well, where I work. So I had to stay with the kid until the parent came to pick the patient up. Or, certain emergencies can happen. Kids could fall 5 minutes before you're about to close the clinic. But 9 times out of 10, you do leave on time, and you come in and you have your breakfast, you sit down, you relax. It's not like in the hospital where it's like, okay, sit down, come, get report. So that's a good thing. It's a really laid back job. And another thing is they actually appreciate you as a nurse. So in the hospital, you're a dime a dozen, right? Not saying that they don't appreciate you, but y'all know how it is. For those guys who work in a hospital or a nursing home, like, there's nurses everywhere. Versus in a school setting, because you're working in education, you're 9 times out of 10 the only licensed professional in the building. So that means that people appreciate you more. A lot of times, it could be annoying sometimes, but teachers would even come in and ask you for your medical opinion, and you're like, oh, I'm just a nurse, I'm not a doctor. You always have to make sure that they are clear. Another pro is the schedule, guys. So basically, if you have kids, like, working a school nursing job is definitely good because you basically work when school is in, which is not a bad schedule at all, which is basically Monday through Friday. Especially if you live close to your job, like 15 minutes away, like, that is amazing. You have time to go to the gym. Like, you have a normal people schedule. Like, like working 312s can sometimes be taxing because you're there for 12 hours, and people don't understand. Like, people say, oh, nurses only work 3 days a week, but those 12 hours are a long 12 hours. So, you know, it's really nice. You only work 8 hours Monday through Friday, and guess what? You are off during the summer, and guess what? You get paid during the summer. So that is a beautiful thing. And I know in Houston, where I was working in Sugarland, particularly, which is a suburb of Houston. Every year that you stay, you get a bonus. You get more pay. Basically, you get a bonus on top of your salary. And sometimes every 3 months, every 2 months, they give you bonuses for staying. Like, thank you for staying. But there's a reason why they do that, which I will come to in later on in the video. But which is really nice. They have little incentives, and just like every other facility that they hire nurses, like sometimes they have little incentives where, you know, they leave out donuts for the nurses. They leave out like little snacks for the nurses and teachers. So it's really nice. And another pro is if you don't have kids like me, like, you get to experience seeing how the school system is like in that particular area of the city you're living in. So if you are thinking about, hey, I want to start a family there, you can see how it is, like how's the school district here. So basically, you get to grow your community and see different people in your community. You're going to meet the firefighters. You're going to meet everybody who is you're going to meet everyone who is affiliated with the school and the community, and you're respected. And benefits, you get your benefits. So I didn't have to worry about health insurance at the times, because, you know, when you're because I was doing travel nursing before, that's something you have to navigate, is health insurance. So coming from that experience, like, I had pretty good health insurance with the school nursing job. It wasn't the best, because now that I think about it, the dental insurance was subpar compared to my private dental insurance that I had. So to me, it wasn't the best, but it depends on what you elect, you know, like how much your deductible is. So that was I guess that's good. Like, you know, you have it, and you have discounts in certain stores, certain gym memberships, just because you work for the government per se. Just because you work for the school district, you get discounts for certain stuff. And yeah, so another pro is that, like, you don't have to deal with, like, if you're someone who doesn't like heavy wound care and just like a lot of taxing work, it is not hard at all. So I worked in a clinic, and I had my own office, like I said before, and I had my own assistant. So not all places have assistant. Not all I think elementary doesn't have an assistant, or it's split. So with the middle school, I did have an assistant. So that's good. Like, I have my own assistant, who helped me a lot. Like, she helped me a lot. She was like A1. She was a really great assistant. So, you know, it's really nice to have that. Also, you only deal with like minor medical stuff. Like, if the kid falls down, you put a band-aid on, you clean the wound. Or if they have something in their eye, you can flush their eye out with normal saline. And that brings me to another thing. Anything serious, you call the parents to come to pick them up ASAP, because that's how it is. We only deal with minor stuff, okay? I had patients who had diabetes. We give them insulin. Sometimes we have to call patients down. Another thing is, with medications, we are not allowed to give any medications, even if it's a Tylenol, without the parents' consent. There's a specific form, a form for the medication and a form for administration, without the parents' written consent and without the doctor's signed and stamped consent. So that's another pro, is that you don't have to have you're 9 times out of 10, you're not giving a bunch of medications, because no parent's going to go out their way to have their doctor and them sign. They're busy, you know. So medications that you're giving is absolutely necessary. It's needed, and we're not allowed to give medication without all of that forms anyway. So that's less on you, okay? So guys, this video is getting long, but let's go to the cons. So the cons, I would say, is that you do have certain I don't even know if this is a con. I guess it's part of the job. Like, every job has a pros and cons, but vision and hearing screening, for example, I was responsible to get that done by, I think, like January or something. So you do have deadlines to get it, but the pro is you can set it up any way you want to. Like, so for example, on Mondays, if you say I'm gonna take care of period 1 7th grade girls vision hearing screening, you just email the and you have your own email too. Ain't that cute? Well, most hospitals do have their own email now, but they actually listen and respond to your email. Like, hey, 7th grade girls have their vision and hearing screening. You collaborate with the teachers and you get the vision and hearing screening done. You could literally make your own schedule. In the hospital, you cannot. Like, so for example, for my ladies out there, if you're on your, for example, TMI, sorry guys, but if you're on your menstrual and you're cramping, if that day you do not want to do vision and hearing screening, you don't have to do that. You could sit down and do some office work, do some regular stuff, and then another day when you're not cramping as much, then you can do the vision and hearing screening. You get it? Because like you run the show. This is your clinic, which is a really cool thing. But that's a con, I guess, is that you have to get all the vision hearing screening done at a certain time, and canthosis screening, which is to see if they have diabetes type 2 or insulin resistance. So certain things you have to get at a certain time. Immunizations, oh my god. So by the time I was hired, like, most of the immunizations was already done, but even that, like, immunizations have to be done on time. Sometimes you call parents over and over, can you bring the immunization? And sometimes they could be very rude, and it's like, it's a state thing, like, it's a requirement. Your child has to be immunized for this and that. And sometimes you just have to fight tooth and nail with the parent just to get the records. Sometimes they could be rude. So that's another thing. Immunizations is a bummer. Like, every single one of the kid has to have the correct, proper immunization documentation, or else they cannot be in the school. And sometimes parents really don't understand that. So that's another thing, like, just everything getting organized. But honestly, once your immunizations are in, once you finish your vision and hearing screening, the year, so they told me, because I didn't stay the whole year, so they told me the year is smooth sailing and it's really not that bad. Okay, guys? Another con, which is, okay, so that's the con. Another con is that sometimes being the only medical professional can be annoying. I remember one time I had like 5 students in my clinic, right? And then my assistant, I think she was on lunch or something, and then I get a phone call from a teacher asking me, oh, it's an emergency. And long story short, it really was an emergency. The teacher had like acid reflux or something. And guys, I'm not being insensitive at all. Unfortunately, I have acid reflux too, so I'm not being insensitive, but it's just like, and then they even said, oh, I'm sorry, it was an emergency, and they were like laughing, and it's like, it's not funny. Like, so sometimes it's annoying being only medical professional because they call you for any little thing, because we are there for the teachers too, but we are mainly there for the kids. And so yeah, so that's another con. Like, sometimes it could be annoying, like people calling you for little stuff when you have actual patients who have things to do. Another con. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna wrap this video with the major con of school nursing, and which is why I left. The pay. Guys, with all this said and done, the pay is the main reason why I left school nursing. So first of all, for me, it didn't work out because I live 30 minutes away from the school, but technically with Houston traffic, because I lived in the Heights at that time, technically with Houston traffic, it took me like 45, sometimes an hour just to get to my destination. Just about an hour just to get to my destination. Okay, so that's a major con. All right, guys, is the pay. So yeah, so I had to pay gas, mind you, and then just the salary was really bad. So basically, at the time I accepted the job, I was almost 2 years as an RN. So they go, well, with my school district, every school district is different. That's why I said check your school district. But they go by how many years of as an RN do you have as a school nurse. And basically, I was making teacher's salary, and that was the moment where I realized and was really grateful for being a nurse, because I realized if this is the average salary of people in the US or whatever, I'm like, I thank God. Like, I see why people try so hard to be nurses and stuff like that, because we make pretty good pay. Like, if this is the average salary, I'm like, wow. And honestly, it just didn't, that salary did not keep up with my lifestyle, because I you know, I came from a travel nursing background, and not to say that it has to pay as much as travel nursing, but it was way below, and it just did not work with it. And I think that's a major thing to understand. Like, sometimes, like, we make certain moves in life because we're tired and we think, you know, this is the answer. But sometimes, like, guys, finance is really important. So for me, it just didn't work with my lifestyle. Like, the way I was living, it was just like, that salary is like, it would just allow me to live, and that's it, and not pay off any student loan debt, not travel anywhere, just live and work. And I was like, oh hell no. And it even stunted me in my progression, because you guys know I'm making a med surg course for you guys, and it costs money to make it, but to believe it or not. So it was even stunting my progression on that. So that's why I was like, no. So that's basically the main reason why I left school nursing, guys. It was the salary. The salary was not it. Okay, guys? All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your questions down below, and see if school nurse for you. Try it. Give it a try. I feel like school nurses is good for someone who just wants a break from being a nurse, quite frankly. You're a nurse, but, you know, you're not a nurse. Well, you are a nurse. You are a nurse. But I think it's just good for people who want a break from the hustle and bustle. But just ask yourself, is it worth the financial hit I'm about to take? Because if you're used to working in a hospital, even in a nursing home, you will take a financial hit. Can you afford that? So everybody is different, you know. So all right, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.